The Genpei War was a conflict between the Terra and Minamoto clans during the late Heian period of Japan. It resulted in the fall of the Terra clan and the establishment of the Kamakura shogunate under Minamoto Yoritomo in 1192. The name Genpei comes from alternate readings of the kanji Minamoto and Terra. The conflict is also known in Japanese as the Jusho-Juei War, after the two eras between which it took place. It began with Minamoto's support for a different candidate to take the throne, in conflict with the Terra's nomination. The ensuing Battle of Yuji took place just outside Kyoto, starting a 5-year-long war, concluding with a decisive Minamoto victory in the naval Battle of Dan no Yura. Background: the Genpei War was the culmination of a decades-long conflict between the two aforementioned clans over dominance of the imperial court, and by extension, control of Japan. In the Hogen Rebellion and in the Heiji Rebellion of earlier decades, the Minamoto attempted to regain control from the Terra and failed. In 1180, Terra no Kiyomori put his grandson, Antoku, on the throne, after the abdication of Emperor Takakura. Go-Shirakuwa's son, Prince Mochihito, felt that he was being denied his rightful place on the throne and, with the help of Minamoto Yorimasa, sent out a call to arms to the Minamoto clan and Buddhist monasteries in May. However, this plot ended with the deaths of Yorimasa and Mochihito. In June 1180, Kiyomori moved the seat of imperial power to Fukuhara-kyo. His immediate object seems to have been to get the royal family under his close charge. Beginnings of the war. The actions of Terra no Kiyomori having deepened Minamoto hatred for the Terra clan. A call for arms was sent up by Minamoto no Yorimasa and Prince Mochihito. Not knowing who was behind this rally, Kiyomori called for the arrest of Mochihito, who sought protection at the temple of Midera. The Midera monks were unable to ensure him sufficient protection, so he was forced to move along. He was then chased by Terra forces to the Byodo Inn, just outside Kyoto. The war began thus, with a dramatic encounter on and around the bridge over the river Yuji. This battle ended in Yorimasa's ritual suicide inside the Byodo Inn and Mochihito's capture and execution shortly afterwards. It was at this point that Minamoto no Yoritomo took over leadership of the Minamoto clan and began traveling the country seeking to rendezvous with allies. Leaving Izu province and heading for the Hakone Pass, he was defeated by the Terra in the Battle of Shibashi-yama. However, he successfully made it to the provinces of Kai and Kazuka, where the Takeda and other friendly families helped repel the Terra army. Meanwhile, Terra no Kiyomori, seeking vengeance against the Midera monks and others, besieged Nara and burnt much of the city to the ground. Fighting continued the following year, 1181. Minamoto no Yuki was chastised by a force led by Terra no Shigeru at the Battle of Tsunomatagawa. However, the Terra could not follow up their victory. Terra no Kiyomori died from illness in the spring of 1181. And around the same time Japan began to suffer from a famine which was to last through the following year. The Terra moved to attack Minamoto no Yoshinaka, a cousin of Yoritomo, who had raised forces in the north but were unsuccessful. For nearly 2 years, the war ceased, only to resume in the spring of 1183. Turning of the tide. In 1183, the Terra loss at the Battle of Kurikara was so severe that they found themselves, several months later, under siege in Kyoto, with Yoshinaka approaching the city from the north and Yuki from the east. Both Minamoto leaders had seen little or no opposition in marching to the capital and now forced the Terra to flee the city. Who first set fire to their Rokuhara? Terra no Munimori, head of the clan since his father Kiyomori's death, led his army, along with the young Emperor Antoku and the imperial regalia, to the west. The cloistered Emperor Go-Shirakuwa defected to Yoshinaka. Go-Shirakuwa then issued a mandate for Yoshinaka to join with Yukiya in destroying Munemori and his army. In 1183, Yoshinaka once again sought to gain control of the Minamoto clan by planning an attack on Yoritomo, while simultaneously pursuing the Terra westward. The Terra set up a temporary court at Daifu in Kyushu, the southernmost of Japan's main islands. They were forced out soon afterwards by local revolts instigated by Go-Shirakuwa, and moved their court to Yashima. The Terra were successful in beating off an attack by Yoshinaka's pursuing forces at the Battle of Mizushima. Yoshinaka conspired with Yukiya to seize the capital and the emperor, possibly even establishing a new court in the north. However, Yukiya revealed these plans to the emperor, who communicated them to Yoritomo. Betrayed by Yukiya, Yoshinaka took command of Kyoto and, at the beginning of 1184, set fire to the Hojoji-dono, taking the emperor into custody. Minamoto no Yoshitsune arrived soon afterwards with his brother Noriyori and a considerable force, driving Yoshinaka from the city. After fighting his cousins at the bridge over the Yuji, Yoshinaka made his final stand at Iwazu, in Omi province. He was defeated by Yoshitsune, and killed while attempting to flee. Final stages of the conflict. As the united Minamoto forces left Kyoto, the Terra began consolidating their position at a number of sites in and around the Inland Sea, which was their ancestral home territory. They received a number of missives from the emperor offering that if they surrendered by the 7th day of the 2nd month, the Minamoto could be persuaded to agree to a truce. This was a farce, as neither the Minamoto nor the emperor had any intentions of waiting until the 8th day to attack. Nevertheless, this tactic offered the emperor a chance to regain the regalia and to distract the Terra leadership. The Minamoto army, led by Yoshitsune and Noriyori, made their first major assault at Ichi no Tani, one of the primary Terra camps on Honshu. The camp was attacked from two directions by Yoshitsune and Noriyori, and the Terra, not killed or captured, retreated to Yashima. However, the Minamoto were not prepared to assault Shikoku. A 6-month pause thus ensued, during which the Minamoto took the proper steps. Though on the retreat, the Terra enjoyed the distinct advantages of being in friendly, home territories, and of being far more adept at naval combat than their rivals. It was not until nearly a year after Ichi no Tani that the main Terra force at Yashima came under assault. Seeing Yoshitsune's bonfires in their rear, the Terra had not expected a land-based attack and took to their ships. This was a deceptive play on the part of the Minamoto. However, the Terra improvised imperial palace fell, and many escaped along with the imperial regalia and the Emperor Antoku. The Genpei War came to an end 1 month later, following the Battle of Dan-no-ura, one of the most famous and important battles in Japanese history. The Minamoto engaged the Terra fleet in the Straits of Shimonoseki, a tiny body of water separating the islands of Honshu and Kyushu. The tides played a powerful role in the development of the battle, granting the advantage first to the Terra, who were more experienced and abler sailors, and later to the Minamoto. The Minamoto advantage was considerably enhanced by the defection of Taguchi, a Shikoku warrior who went over to the Minamoto side in the middle of the action. Many of the Terra nobles perished, along with Emperor Antoku and the widow of Kiyomori. Consequences of the Genpei War. The defeat of the Terra armies mean the end of Terra dominance at the capital. In Dec. 1185, Go-Shirakuwa granted to Yoritomo the power to collect taxes, and appoint stewards and constables in all provinces. Finally, in 1192, after Go-Shirakuwa's death, Yoritomo was granted the imperial commission Seii Tai-shogun. This was the beginning of a feudal state in Japan, with real power now in Kamakura. However, Kyoto remained the seat of national ceremony and ritual. Aftermath. The end of the Genpei War and beginning of the Kamakura shogunate marked the rise of military power and the suppression of the power of the emperor, who was compelled to preside without effective political or military power, until the Meiji Restoration over 650 years later. In addition, this war and its aftermath established red and white, the colors of the Terra and Minamoto standards, respectively, as Japan's national colors. Today, these colors can be seen on the flag of Japan, and also in banners and flags in sumo and other traditional activities. Battles. 1180 First Battle of Yuji, regarded as the first battle in the Genpei Wars, the monks of the Byakuya fight alongside Minamoto no Yorimasa. 1180 Siege of Nara, the Terra set fire to temples and monasteries, to cut supplies to their rivals. 1180 Battle of Shibashi Yama, Minamoto no Yoritomo's first battle against the Terra. Minamoto Yoritomo loses the battle. 1180 Battle of Fujigawa, the Terra mistake a flock of waterfowl for a sneak attack by the Minamoto in the night, and retreat before any fighting occurs. 1181 Battle of Sunomatagawa, the Terra thwart a sneak attack in the night but retreat. 1181 Battle of Yahajigawa, the Minamoto, retreating from Sunomata, attempt to make a stand. 1183 Siege of Hyuchi, the Terra attack a Minamoto fortress. 1183 Battle of Kurikara, the tide of the war turns in the Minamoto's favor. 1183 Battle of Shinohara, Yoshinaka pursues the Terra force from Kurikara. 1183 Battle of Mizushima, the Terra intercept a Minamoto force, heading for Yashima. 1183 Siege of Fukuyuji, the Minamoto attack a Terra fortress. 1183 Battle of Muroyama, Minamoto no Yuki tries and fails to recoup the loss of the Battle of Mizushima. 1184 Siege of Hojoji-dono, Yoshinaka sets fire to the Hojoji-dono and kidnaps Emperor Go-Shirakuwa. 1184 Second Battle of Yuji, Yoshinaka is pursued out of the capital by Yoshitsune and Noriyuri. 1184 Battle of Iwazu, Minamoto no Yoshinaka is defeated and killed by Yoshitsune and Noriyuri. 1184 Battle of Ichi no Tani, Minamoto Yoshitsune attacks and drives the Terra from one of their primary fortresses. 1184 Battle of Kojima, Terra fleeing Ichi no Tani are attacked by Minamoto no Noriyuri. 1185 Battle of Yashima, the Minamoto assault their enemy's fortress, just off Shikoku. 1185 Battle of Dannoura, Minamoto Yoshitsune decisively defeats Terra forces in naval battle ending the war. Major figures in the Genpei War. Minamoto clan. The Minamoto were one of the four great clans that dominated Japanese politics during the Heian period. They were, however, decimated by the Terra in the Heiji Rebellion of 1160. Minamoto no Yoshitomo had been the head of the clan at this time. Upon his defeat at the hands of Terra no Kiyomori, two of his sons were killed and the third, Minamoto no Yoritomo, was banished. Following the call to arms of Prince Mochihito and Minamoto no Yorimasa in 1180, the clan would gather together and rise to power again. The Genpei War would see the Minamoto clan defeat the Terra and take command of the entire country. Minamoto no Noriyori, general, younger brother of Yoritomo. Minamoto no Yorimasa, head of the clan at the beginning of the war. Minamoto no Yoritomo, head of the clan upon Yorimasa's death. Minamoto no Yoshitsune, younger brother of Yoritomo, chief general of the clan. Minamoto no Yuki, general, uncle to Yoritomo. Allies and vassals. Emperor Go-Shirakuwa, cloistered emperor. Prince Mochihito, imperial prince. Benkei, Sohei, ally of Yoshitsune. Hojo Tokimasa, head of the Hojo clan, father-in-law of Yoritomo. Kajiwara Kagetoki, officially an ally of Yoshitsune, in fact a spy for Yoritomo. Kumage Narozane, samurai vassal of Yoritomo. Sasaki Moritsuna, vassal of Noriyori, who commanded the assault at the Battle of Kojima. Taguchi Shigeyoshi, Terra general who turned to the Minamoto camp upon seeing the tide turn at the Battle of Dan-no-Ura, thus ensuring Minamoto victory. Nasu no Yoichi, celebrated archer and Minamoto ally. Yada Yoshiyasu, vassal of Yoshinaka and commander of Minamoto forces at the Battle of Mizushima. The Sohei of Midera and other temples. 3 in particular are mentioned in the Haiku Monogatari for their part in the First Battle of Yuji. Ichirai Hoshi, who was famous for having jumped ahead of Jomeio Maishu and led the Midera monks to battle. Gochien no Tajima, called Tajima the arrow cutter, and famous for deflecting the arrows of the Terror with his Naginata. Upon the bridge over the Yuji. Susui Jomeio Maishu, who fought to his last on the bridge over the Yuji, taking over 60 arrows and still fighting. Partisans of Minamoto no Yoshinaka, cousin of Yoritomo, who supported his rebellion. Amikani Hira, who joined Yoshinaka in his escape to Seta. Terra clan. The Terra clan was one of the 4 great clans which dominated Japanese politics during the Heian period. As a result of the near-total destruction of their rival clan, the Minamoto, in the Heiji Rebellion of 1160, Terra no Kiyomori, head of the clan, initiated the Genpei War at the height of his power. The end of the war, however, brought destruction to the Terra clan. Terra no Atsumori, young samurai killed by Kumage Narozane who, because of his youth and innocence, became quite famous in death. Terra no Kiyomori, head of the clan at the beginning of the war. Terra no Korimori, grandson of Kiyomori. Terra no Munamori, son and heir of Kiyomori, head of the clan for much of the war. Terra no Noritsune, a Terra clan samurai. Terra no Shigerira, general, son of Kiyomori. Terra no Tadanori, general, brother of Kiyomori. Terra no Tokiko, wife of Kiyomori who committed suicide at the Battle of Dan-no-Ura. Terra no Tomomori, general, son of Kiyomori. Terra no Yukimori, general, commander of the Terra forces at the Battle of Kojima. Terra no Kagekyo, a Terra clan samurai, adopted from the Fujiwara family. Allies and vassals. Emperor Antoku, Emperor of Japan and grandson of Terra no Kiyomori Obakage, vassal of the Terra. Sato Sanomori, former vassal of Minamoto no Yoshitomo, switched sides and became a vassal of Terra no Munori. Senu Kanayasu, vassal of the Terra who commanded at the Fukuoka fortress. Taguchi Shigeyoshi, Terra general who turned to the Minamoto camp upon seeing the tide turn at the Battle of Dan-no-Ura, thus ensuring Minamoto victory. The Sohei of Enryakuji, at least in theory, on account of their rivalry with the Midera, which was allied with the Minamoto. Genpei War in literature. Many stories and works of art depict this conflict. The tale of the Haiku is one of the most famous, though many kabuki and bunraku plays reproduce events of the war as well. Ichino Tani Futabagunki by Namiki Sosuke may be one of the more famous of these. Sheik, by Robert Shea, features a somewhat fictionalized account of the wars, as seen from the perspectives of his 2 main characters, the Zinnia monk Jebu, and the noblewoman Lady Shima Taniko. The names of the 2 rival clans have been changed: Minamoto to Muratomo, and Terra to Takashi. Another fictionalized account of the conflict forms the central plot of Civil War, the 9th volume of Osamu Tezuka's celebrated Phoenix series. The Genpei War is the backdrop for much of Catherine Paterson's young adult novel, Of Nightingales That Weep. Genpei War in popular culture. On September 27, 2011, the Creative Assembly released a DLC pack for Total War Shogun 2 entitled Rise of the Samurai, which allows players to play as members of the Terra, the Minamoto, or the Fujiwara families. Through a complex system of province building, diplomacy, research, and combat, players can decide the outcome of the Genpei War for themselves. Cinemaware's Amiga title Lords of the Rising Sun features Genpei War. It was made in the beginning of 90s.